Tigercast fans, welcome back to the YouTube video. Today, it's about the 5 things we learnt from the Geelong game on the weekend to finish off the year. And I know it's only been a short-lived segment, we only introduced it late, but I'm looking forward to doing this more next year because it's quite a fun exercise. But the first thing I learnt from the Geelong game is that this team does have fight and grit in them. The margin got to over 70 points at one stage in the third quarter, and it was looking pretty grim. I remember turning to Grok at half-time even, and we thought, shit, this could get to over 100, which is what we wanted to avoid happening, of course. And, you know, being the last game of the season, the teams can easily just fold and roll over and just, it's all too hard, finish lines in sight and give it up. And then the other team goes on and smacks them by 110, 120 points. That often happens, and was a real possibility. But to see the Tigers fight it out and get it back to 39 points was really good to see. Honestly, it was. And look, I know Geelong took the foot off the pedal. I do completely and utterly acknowledge that. But that doesn't kick the score for you. Like, we still have to go out and make the plays and kick the score and move the ball well enough to be able to give ourselves a chance to have the shots on goal. So you still have to do the work to get yourself back in it. So it was good to see. It was good to see the young kids fought out, especially after the week before against North. It probably felt like where we didn't maybe do that as well. And so it was nice to see that type of response. And to keep it under 60 points, I thought was a really good result. I mean, if you had have asked most Richmond supporters at the start of the game, would you take a 39-point loss? We probably would have all said yes. Geelong are a quality team, and to have no 100-point losses for the year, whilst you may be saying it's a low-setting bar, but it's still a tick given what we come from last year and the experience we lost. To still then have an improvement in that area is a really positive sign. And hopefully that's where it stays for the many years to come. Number 2, or the second thing I learned from the Geelong game, and this is going to come as no surprise, it's not just from the Geelong game, but we do need to work a lot on our skills. Sometimes we're often our own worst enemy when it comes to our skills and turnovers. We often do get into good attacking positions, whether it's from creating a defensive half turnover, or a quick counter-attack from a kick-in or a stoppage set play, something like that. We do often get into really good spots, and typically the first 1 or 2 kicks or possessions are quite good, open the game up, and we get ourselves running forward. But then as we're kind of getting into the front end of the ground, we seem to let ourselves down with some bad passing or bad decision-making and turn it straight back over, quite often leading to the other team going back down the other end and scoring, while we're all lost at sea and out of position, which is really frustrating. And it's probably a developmental thing, a growth and experience thing, but it also needs to be acknowledged that some of the times these poor kicks and turnovers are happening from our experienced guys too, which is where we need to get better and work a lot harder at to make sure that then they're not committing those types of turnovers. No doubt having players like Sam Lawler come back will help. Josh Smiley will help in this area too. Kane McAuliffe was doing okay as well by foot. So we do have some cattle to come back in to help rectify that area. Seth Campbell getting some more midfield time will help. But, you know, you only have to look as far as someone as Ben Miller, and you can see that no matter how old or how experienced you might be, I know he's on the younger side, but he's still relatively experienced, that you can improve your disposal. He's been a vast improvement from previous years, and you saw that 45 meter laser pass to Jacob Hopper in amongst 3 Cats players. It took tremendous courage to take that kick on, and he hit it. So it can be done, and it's a part of our game we need to get to work on next year in the off season, to get more reward for effort, essentially, because we leave goals on the table by our own mistakes in the front half or leading up to the front half of the ground. So hopefully we can address that and we can get some more score next year. The third thing that I learned from the Geelong game, and this one stood out quite a lot to me, and it's something I've thought and noticed for a little while, is we need to change the angle of attack more. Now, I don't know if we don't do this a lot by design at the moment. I mean, I can't really understand why we would, to be honest, but when we have possession of the ball, like at the top of our defensive 50, and the rest of all other players are pretty much in the front half of the ground, we tend to just keep going down the line a lot, almost exclusively. We do credit where it's due. We do often look inboard, but teams are very good at blocking off the inboard pass. Sometimes we'll take it if it's there. A lot of the times, opposition have already set up. But then our default kick is then just down the line, which plays into other teams' hands quite a lot. What I want to see us do more of is using the back three players in the defensive 50 to move the ball across the ground and go out the other side. Like, start shifting opposition zones across the ground, make the ground wider. We see teams do it to us relentlessly, and that's what enables them to move the ball down the ground so easily. Now, I reckon we did this maybe twice against Geelong, and the 2 times we did it, we actually opened their zone up and were able to then pick our way through and get a somewhat meaningful forward 50 entry, just by utilising the back three who hang back a little bit further, quick. And look, this only works if you do it quickly. You can't telegraph the pass so their opposition forwards can come down and cut it off. It's got to be instinctive. The back three sit back a little bit deeper, switch across, out the other side to the wing, and then you've got the whole zone shuffling and scrambling across, and opportunities open up and present themselves. So I just think if we can get in some good habits of changing angles, opening up the ground, we're going to give ourselves better chances of scoring opportunity, which we are going to need to improve on next year. And that just feels like a really easy and obvious one to do. So hopefully we get to work on that on the off season. The fourth thing that I learnt from the Geelong game, it wasn't so much a learning, but it was just fantastic to see Josh Gibcus play AFL football again, wasn't it? He had some nice spoils, some long, hard chases of opponents, while I'm sure the rest of the crowd were holding their collective breath to see how that played out. He had a couple of really big sprint efforts trying to chase players down, and it was good to see him out there. Hopefully he takes a bit of belief out of his own body and being able to compete at the AFL level. And look, he'll no doubt slot back into the VFL for their finals campaign now, which will be good. But I look forward to seeing him hitting the ground running in, pre-season day one. And he will no doubt be thereabouts for selection for the round 1 game 2026. But it was just awesome to see him out there. So good on Josh for being able to play. And the last thing I learnt from the Geelong game, and again, I don't want to say this is exclusive to the Geelong game, but Sam Banks, Jesus, he has owned that half-back flank role for us since moving there. You talk about sliding doors moments and taking your opportunity when it presents. Like Shorty going down, no one likes injuries, so it doesn't matter who the player is, what club, no one likes it. But Short going down presented Sam Banks an opportunity to make that halfback role his own. And from the moment he did it, he never looked like going back into any other position. He has absolutely owned it, made it his own. He hit 30 disposals for the first time on the weekend against Geelong, which is a really great effort against a quality opponent. He had 10 marks as well. He's now getting his meters gained up as well, so he's actually being a bit more penetrating with his attacks and his kicks. It'd be great to see him continue this next year. You want to see him get those wraparound goals and things like that, but I just think this has sort of become the making of him, and I've got no doubt in my mind that he's an absolute lock for round 1 next year at halfback. So credit to Sam Banks for taking the opportunity and making the absolute most of it. I think it's been a great move for both he and the club, which has been good. But there you go. They are the 5 things I learned from the Geelong game on the weekend. Let us know what you learnt in the comments below. Good, bad, or ugly. Chuck it all in there. And again, like I said, we will do this again next year. I thought it's a very worthwhile segment. And I'm keen to hear what all of you think. So let us know. And until next time, go Tigers.